Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi did not show up for our meeting today. I'm not really that surprised. We have a lot of differences. They've been all talk and they've been no action. And now it's even worse. Now it's not even talk.
President Trump slamming Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi for skipping a planned meeting that was going to discuss funding for the government as the threat of a government shutdown begins to loom larger. Senator Schumer and Congresswoman Pelosi were supposed to meet with the Republican counterparts, Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, along with the president, but at the last minute they canceled this after President Trump indicated that the four could not reach a deal. So if the government does shut down, who's at fault and what does it mean for the country? To my panel, Sarah Westwood is back with us, along with Katie Freites, managing editor of Olympic Media and an editor for the Daily Caller, and Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor and progressive radio host. Let me start with you, Katie, because you know, it's just odd that they would skip out on this meeting. I don't know. You know, I understand that the jockeying beforehand and whatever, you know, but to actually not go to this meeting, I was kind of blown away by it.
It's clearly an entirely political move. Trump had embarrassed them a little bit on Twitter, and they didn't want to look bad to their base that is very agitated and very angry. If they had gone to that meeting anyway, it would have looked like Pelosi and Schumer had been cowed by Trump, and they could not deal with any more outrage. Pelosi has already been targeted by the far left. She couldn't deal with any more of it. So it was purely a political move, and I find that to be rather ridiculous when the result of that could be a shutdown of the government. You should be putting all the workers, all the federal workers, the safety of the government, the health of the country ahead of Trump tweeting. I mean, they say Trump's thin-skinned, but that shows just how thin-skinned both of them are. You
know, Leslie, of course, back in the Obama era, this was a paramount issue that, you know, you would never let the government shut down. It was like almost a sin to do that. Right. Now, it seems like the main issue here is over immigration, or slipping in some form of immigration with this. I don't know if it's DACA, immigration, whatever it is. Is that a smart move considering what's at stake?
Well, I think it is, actually. I don't think it was a smart move for Democrats not to take a meeting, because the last thing, first of all, I can't stand the president tweeting, period. I don't care who's the president in this manner, and the way Trump does it, it's just not presidential in my opinion. When you taunt someone, as he did, which is, I don't deal with Dems, well, he's lying. He did deal with Dems. And as a matter of fact, Pelosi and Schumer walked in there with regard to DACA in September, laid out their situation, and he did cut a deal and dealt with the Dems. I think it would have been better for the Democratic Party and for Pelosi and Schumer to take that meeting. But I think we all know that that meeting is not going to determine the outcome of a vote. That meeting wouldn't necessarily avoid a government shutdown. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the House and the Senate. And the Senate,
but they're going to take their cues, though, from their leadership.
I know, but the Republicans don't need the Democrats in the House for this, but they do in the Senate. Right. And I understand why they did what they did. I agree that it was politicizing and retaliation, but I think both were the president and Pelosi and Schumer were being childish.
You know, Sarah, here's the thing, though. Again, when President Obama was in office, this was always a paramount issue. You would never let the government shut down. And here is a chance that perhaps it shuts down, because if Democrats draw a line in the sand with respect to DACA and immigration, one of President Trump's strongest positions, one of his strongest campaign items, I would be surprised, but it looks like we're barreling toward that conclusion.
Right. I think that Republicans are confident that Democrats would bear the blame if the government did shut down, and I think that confidence might be misplaced. There's no guarantee that the media and the public will perceive a shutdown as the fault of Democrats. If there are Republicans who are also unwilling to budge on some of the issues that force the government shutdown, you're right, Charles, that DACA is the key to whether this will pass or not. We're talking about a continuing resolution at this point, because there's not time to write an omnibus spending bill before December 8th, which is the deadline, when the previous CR runs out. So we don't know whether Pelosi and Schumer are going to go to the mat for DACA to have DACA be tucked into the spending bill, or whether they will follow what Republican leaders and what the White House wants, which is to put off the DACA fight until next year.
Of course, you know, we've seen these high-stake games before when it's come to continuing resolutions. They always kind of go down to the wire. You were shaking your head, though, with respect to the sort of the media outcome or the blame game.
Yes, because if you look at it, the party in power gets blamed. I mean, if the government shuts down, the party in power gets blamed. Republicans are in power, they will get the blame. Democrats know this. This is why. And first of all, the polls show that DACA is supported on a bipartisan level, as you know, because most people don't want to blame children for the actions, however illegal or criminal of their parents, for these children that did not make this decision. But we also have to look at, Charles, what does this mean further for the Republican Party? 4 days after the shutdown, you got to vote in Alabama. It's just right now not a mess that honestly the country needs financially, but the Republicans need politically.
Although I don't think President Trump's going to blink. I really don't. All right, ladies, let's leave it there. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un